I got this whole fabric haul from a thrift store for $30, a fraction of the price it would cost to buy it from an actual fabric store. And since fabric is so expensive, I'm going to show you some things to watch out for while shopping for fabric from a thrift store so you can be confident that you're getting a good deal on fabric. The first thing you need to watch out for is the size of the fabric you're buying. This pillowcase cost $2, which is not a very good deal on fabric considering the size and the seams along the side that will limit the possibilities of things you can make with this fabric. But this skirt I made is an almost perfect match with the color of this pillowcase, and I thought the little red stripes on it would make a really cute shirt to go with this skirt. So even though buying a pillowcase might not be the best value or the best yardage to buy from a thrift store, if you have a specific project in mind, spending $2 for a shirt is actually a really good deal. Ideally, you want a much larger yardage of fabric. There is over a yard of this dark green fabric and I got it for $1.50, which is a much better deal than the pillowcase. I'm thinking maybe I'll make a shirt with this, maybe long sleeve, maybe 3/4 length sleeve. I just think this would look really nice as a shirt with my red hair. I think the green would look really nice with that. There are also some hidden gems you will find in thrift stores. This is over a yard of sewing interfacing that I got for $1.50. It's really easy to get caught up in your fabric rather than the little notions like interfacing or buttons or zippers, because the fabric is what your garment is going to look like. It's what your quilt is going to look like. And so the little notions that you use while sewing or on the inside of your garment don't always get as much attention, but you can also get a really good deal on buying things like interfacing or scissors or thread or patterns from a thrift store. This brown fabric here is the biggest risk you take while shopping for fabric from a thrift store. All 3 pieces of this brown fabric that I got for $1.50 each have a big hole in the center of them, which really breaks up the yardage I can use while sewing. And the way they fold fabric up on hangers when they hang it in a thrift store, and sometimes they put like one of those little plasticky pieces through the edge so you can't really unfold it, you cannot always tell if your fabric's gonna have a hole in the middle of it, and it can really be a problem if you buy fabric specifically thinking you're going to get a lot of yardage out of it and then you find out you can't. I originally bought all this brown fabric thinking I could use it to make a Renaissance era style kirtle, which is the bodice and skirt portion of Renaissance clothing, but with this hole in the middle of all 3 pieces of it, I can't use it for that. The other problem is I bought this fabric like a year ago and I just now finished washing it, so I'm showing you all guys, but I did not realize until I washed it that this fabric is polyester. Cotton doesn't make that sound. So now I'm left with several broken up yards of polyester fabric when I thought I was purchasing multiple usable yards of cotton fabric. But buyer beware, that's the risk you take when you shop for fabric at a thrift store. Many a skirt or dress has been made out of bed sheets, and you can get a really good deal on fabric at a thrift store by buying bed sheets. I bought this trash 180 thread count twin size bed sheet for $6 new in the packaging from a thrift store. I do recommend using bed sheets to sew with, especially when you first start sewing, because you can get a really good deal on the yardage of fabric and you don't have to be worried about ruining it because it's cheap fabric, it's from a thrift store, it's not sentimental, and it's really easy to use for your good early projects that aren't gonna turn out so well. I bought this sheet to use as mock-up fabric, but I think I'm probably going to use it to make a sleeve for my dress form once I pad it out. I have been sourcing materials for it, and I'm soon going to be able to do that project, and I think this would work well since it's a pale color, it's kind of nude. I can't really find my own nude skin tone in fabric because it's a really hard one to find, but this is close enough and I think it'll work well for a dress form sleeve. You can also get a steal on a good amount of yardage by buying fabric from a thrift store, like this about 2 yards wide of just really thick, nice green cotton for $2.50. It does have a chunk out of one of the corners, so that makes me think somebody tried to use it for something and maybe didn't like the fabric, didn't like the color, didn't like the texture, and so they donated it. But this is great fabric, and I'm thinking I might make some sort of cottagecore skirt or dress or shirt out of it. I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking something cottagecore because I like the color of it. I think would look really nice and earthy with that. This is a tablecloth that I bought for $4 and used as a quilt backing. And it's covered in a black cat hair right now because Cujo naps on this quilt every single day. He loves it so much. And after 4 long years of trying to get that cat to sit on my lap, he finally sat on my lap on top of this quilt. But using a tablecloth or a curtain to sew with, like I did, is a little bit risky because this fabric is a really cheap polyester that is not meant for your home sewing machine to sew with it, and it's also not going to be able to launder as well, and it does snag easier. So while you can get a really good deal on a tablecloth or a curtain at a thrift store, I don't always recommend to sew clothing with those pieces because the fabric isn't really meant for that, and you might be setting yourself up for failure. So if you're going to go down that route, buying a curtain or a tablecloth for fabric, just be careful what type of project you make with it. And the last thing you really need to watch out for when buying fabric from a thrift store is buying something that you want to use as fabric and then realizing you actually want to keep it the same way. Like this window valance that I'm probably going to put up on the windows up in this bedroom that's going to be my sewing room. I got these 2 window valances for $2 a pop at the thrift store, and I wasn't sure about getting them. I really flip-flopped on whether I was going to buy them or not because I wasn't sure what I would want to make with them when I was shopping, but I'm glad I did because I've decided I don't really want to make anything with these. I want to use them as actual window valances. And I think my next sewing project is going to be making some curtains to go with these window valances and actually installing them on that window over there so I can actually start getting this room put together and start making more projects in here and feeling more inspired because this room is kind of blank and boring right now. I've been kind of stalling on putting this room together because I've been flip-flopping or not, whether I want to keep these walls blue or paint them purple, actually like this purple in this window valance, but I don't think I am up for painting a whole room right now with my foot still being injured. I think I'm gonna wait on that and work with the blue, and then maybe in a year or 2 when I'm feeling better and I don't like the blue as much, then I'll paint it then. So if you're subscribed to my channel, and you should be if you're not, just know that the next few videos I'm making are gonna be getting this room put together so I can sew in it, and then I'm going to be padding out my dress form and making a sleeve for it after that. So you have a few things to look forward to, and I'm going to try and get around to them in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to start trying to post on a 2-week schedule, but until I can get there, it's going to be every 3 weeks. But until next time, I thank you so much for watching my video today, and please leave a like on this video if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what kinds of great fabric you found at a thrift store or what kind of pitfalls you fell into buying some fabric that you probably wouldn't have. Oh,